And it's time to do business. I am Beverly Broohm. We take a look at our first story now. And the government has been charged to ensure that the international financial reporting standards are complied with if it goes ahead to implement the domestic debt exchange program. According to the Institute of Accountants Ghana, even though its effects on individuals and businesses cannot be ruled out, the program must adhere to the London-based Accounting Standards Board and address record-keeping, account reporting, and other aspects of financial reporting. Sena Dake is president of the ICAG, and she spoke to Joy Business at the 40th graduation and admission ceremony of the institute held in Accra.
According to the president of the ICAG, government's intended domestic debt exchange program, which forms part of the IMF conditionalities, will have implications for financial reporting, hence the need to ensure it meets global accounting practices.
ICAG Ghana has made submissions already in the process, and some of the submissions are tilted to the fact that the debt restructuring will definitely have implications for financial reporting. And what we stand by is to comply with the international financial reporting standards, because there will be losses and they should be accounted for. They must be recognized in the financial statements, and that is where we have to go, because this is a global matter, and the fact that we are complying with standards will give confidence in the public financial management system, as well as any other financial statement that goes out, because the financial systems will be clearly showing that we are applying high standards.
Overall best candidate level 3. Can you keep appreciating him? Richard Osafo.
Alumnus of the University of Ghana, Richard Osafo emerged overall best level 3 candidate of the 40th CA professional exams. In an interview with Joy Business, he admonished members of the ICAG to adhere to best accounting practices.
As a professional accountant, you should know that whatever that you do, whatever you say, do your practices, you need to be very careful, because if you do not abide by our principles, basically you are tarnishing the image of yourself, one, the business or your employer, two, and then the noble profession we are all a member of, three. So you need to really uphold the principles. When we are swearing you, we mentioned the 5 principles: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, competence and due care. Constantly updating our skill set and the professional behavior. So I believe that every accountant out there ethically must uphold these 5 key principles, and probably be more.
Meanwhile, Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies Accra, Dr. K.K. Sapon, who was special guest at the event, urged accounting professionals to collaborate in order to remain effective.
I encourage the Institute to enrich its CPD by covering contemporary topical issues, which will fill those gaps to enable its members and graduates respond adequately to the needs of our country. I look at the CPD for the coming this year. I didn't see the Ghana government domestic debt exchange program. I encourage the Institute to venture into that topic so that we have an in-depth analysis of it, and then be able to see whether we can offer useful advice to our government.
Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Edichum, however, admonished the ICAG graduates to be custodian of the code of ethics that guides the profession. A speech was read on his behalf.
The code recognizes that you operate in a diverse, demanding, dynamic, and complex environment. It acknowledges that you are often faced with challenges and difficult choices. However, professionalism and skills you bring to these choices as individuals, as an institute, as an international organization, has a major impact on your respective reputation and will shape the future of your profession and Ghana as a nation.
The first 2023 ICAG graduation and admission ceremony coincide with the Institute's 60th anniversary celebration.
Well, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School and executive director of Center for Economics, Finance and Inequality Studies, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, says the debt exchange program, if not managed well for the banks, could worsen the already existing low confidence in the sector.
Having an exchange program that is going to hard hit the banks in terms of their investment income, not the loan income. The banks have an interest. Two, you are also talking to the banks to be dealing or calling individuals to come and sign on this voluntary debt exchange program. What does it mean? Clearly, if individuals are hitting back at the banks, it has implications for deposits. And so the banks find themselves in a situation where they themselves as institutions are being affected. And then two, because they serve as a front, the primary dealers for these bonds, they also have to come in to deal with their client or customers on the other side. We should not forget the stability fund. I don't think it's only for the banks. It goes beyond the banks. It's open to the public through the financial institution. And so the banks have a major stake. And if their demands have not been met halfway, or the demands have not been met, it goes clearly to say that the banks will have to, for the time being, call for a move away by their members on this exchange program until they have a better understanding, a better appreciation of their points by the government. Then maybe they will come back and then advise their members, that is the banks, on what to do. But currently, the strategy of the banks is acceptable. They are in the forefront of all of this. And if this is not managed very well for the banks, it will affect them. As we speak now, one can comfortably say that confidence in the financial sector is an all-time low. And definitely this is going to trickle into deposit, which will also impact on banks and businesses. So we need to look at it and address the concerns of the banks urgently.
Away from that, the National Communications Authority has granted provisional approval for the sale of Vodafone Ghana to Telecel Group. According to the NCA, it granted a conditional approval after examining a revised agreement presented by the parties. The telecoms regulator said it granted approval for the transfer of the 70% majority shares in Gala Telecommunications Company Limited, owned by Vodafone Ghana, to Telecel Group, subject to concessions made by the seller and representations made by Telecel to the NCA. It will be recalled that in January 2022, the NCA received an application form from Vodafone Ghana for the transfer of 70% of its majority shares held by the seller to the buyer. And that's all for Prime Business tonight. We have more business on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broohm.